Will the August 7, 2013 meeting of the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission please come to order? Thank you all for your attendance this evening. For the benefit of those present who may not have participated in the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, I will review our public hearing procedure, which is as follows. We will read the legal notice for the public hearing portion of this meeting as published in the local newspaper. The applicants will then be invited to come forward and present their case, explaining to the Commission and the public what is specifically being requested of the subject property. Written comments from town agencies pertaining to the application will then be read into the record if the Commission has received any. The Commissioners will then ask their clarifying questions, and the public will then be invited to ask any questions they have about the application. I will then ask those in attendance who support the application to please come forward and make their statements. Then I will ask those in attendance who oppose the application. Okay, we're back on the record. Sir, please, if you continue where you left off.
This is a larger view of the map of the ones that you all got, showing the setbacks. In terms of the size of this building, it being oversized, I have a boat trailer combination that's 32 feet long, and I wanted to be able to get it inside the building so that I can maintain it and still have enough room to walk around.
And where on there is the building that you're doing?
The proposed building is here.
Okay.
And it's 54 feet from the property line and 42 feet from the coastal jurisdiction. It's out of the flood zone. It's the floor of the building is 21 feet, and the building height is 17 feet.
Okay. Questions from the Commission? Okay,
Just for the town employees, I'm just, why, could someone just tell me why this didn't go before inland wetlands at any point?
Tidal wetlands.
It's all tidal?
Yes.
The entire property is
Yes.
beyond our jurisdiction towards the coast?
These are all
Okay.
tidal wetlands.
100% tidal. Okay, thank you.
we received a few letters in the file. First one is from John Goucher from the Office of Long Island Sound Program, State of Connecticut. We received the above reference proposal for consistency with the Connecticut Coastal Management Act policies and have no comments to the Planning and Zoning Commission's consideration. In addition, we received a letter dated August 7th from Kevin McGee, the town environmental planner, with regard to this application. The information provided indicates that the property owner plans on installing an 824 square foot building for boats and woodworking and a dirt driveway. The proposed work is located approximately 42 feet from the tidal marsh. Stormwater control consists of 4 foot wide, 1 foot deep stone trenches located on the north and south sides of the proposed building. All the work is constructed outside of the FEMA flood zones. The mitigation measures shown on the coastal area management plan provide for erosion and sedimentation control measures that are designed to protect the adjacent coastal resources. In order to make sure that the coastal resources are protected during construction, I recommend that the following condition be added for approval. One, that the Town of Guilford Zoning Enforcement Officer should be notified to inspect the sedimentation and erosion control measures prior to site construction. Soil stockpiles should be contained by silt fencing and or hay bales. Soil erosion and sedimentation control measures shall be maintained until vegetation is established or suitable material is installed to the satisfaction of the zoning enforcement officer. And you're okay with that condition?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Any other questions from the Commission? Are there any questions from the public? Is anybody wishing to speak in favor of the application? Anybody wishing to speak against? Okay, last opportunity for questions or comments. Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing on this application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item up is Justin and Nikki Pagano, property located at 71 Bluff View. This is a revision to an existing special permit. How you doing?
Good. Good evening. I'm Justin Pagano, 71 Bluff View Drive. And basically, this is the application to remove the easement that is currently on the map here. Basically, it's a 100-foot setback for what at one point was a proposed, I believe, a proposed regrading of the lake.
Right. So just so I understand, as I looked at the waiver of rights, at the time this property, I guess, must have been subdivided or something. There was a restriction put on the deeds for the properties. I think there might be another one here tonight as well, which indicated this was going to be, say, for a pond or something, or?
No, grading rights.
Okay, grading right. And now that that's not going to take place, in addition to whatever deed work you have to do, you want to get this removed from the subdivision restrictions or from, on the subdivision plans.
You may recall the commission did this on one or more lots previously. And the advice of the Director of Health and others, there's no intention to construct a pond. This was approved about 50 years ago, I believe, the subdivision. And there's no intention to develop the pond so that this deed restriction is no longer necessary or applicable.
Right, and there's not much we can do about the deeds, but we can update the approval that we gave for the subdivision to remove this.
That's the request of the this applicant and also the next one.
Okay. Questions from the commission? Is this clear to everybody what is being proposed here?
I guess I have a question.
Absolutely, go ahead.
What does the applicant gain at this time by getting this removed?
Well, I think the restriction precludes building, making improvements to the lot in that area.
Because of this grading?
Because of this grading easement, and they'll have more freedom to do those things in the future, subject to the other rules of zoning.
But this easement belongs to the applicant?
Correct. It's in
This,
favor.
the original owner put this easement on these two parcels, this one and the next one, I believe, and now,
There were actually, I think, 4 or 5 of them there,
okay,
but yes.
but for these two,
correct.
they're asking to have them removed.
The easement was the right to regrade this area for possible future lake be retained.
I thought
So
it was a lake.
it prohibits building, wells, and leaching systems in that area.
So it's a right and a restriction?
Right. And since they're not planning to do this lake or pond or
No,
whatever it is
it's
anymore,
not
they don't
gonna be.
need this and would like to, in the future, be able to use that land for something else if they so desired. But
Well, it removes the 100-foot restriction off the rear of this parcel so that the
Okay.
people who bought it can put a shed there or a swimming pool or whatever,
Okay.
whatever they'd like.
any questions from the commission? Are there any questions from the public? Is there anybody wishing to speak in favor of the application? Is there anybody wishing to speak against? Okay, last opportunity for questions or comments. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you, sir, and move on to Dan Troiano, property located Bluff View Drive, revision of an existing special permit. Same kind of
Justin said it all right there.
Sir, if you could just identify yourself, please, for the...
Dan Trano, 174 West Pond Road, North Francis.
Thank you.
We own that subdivision there, and at one time, we were talking about a pond, this was 30 years ago. And we found, we decided, my brother and I, that it would be better used for recreation for the subdivision, rather than having a liability with a lake in there, or somebody could get drowned and stuff like that.
Okay. Good. So basically, very similar requests to the, if not the same request as what was on the prior application.
Mr. Troiano owns 2 undeveloped lots that have the same restriction. This is a request to eliminate that restriction from those 2 lots.
As well, okay.
Are these the last 2 lots?
I believe so.
Restriction?
Yes. There are no other lots that are affected by this restriction.
Any other questions from the commission at this point? Any questions from the public? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anybody wishing to speak against? Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, I'll close this public hearing. Thank you, sir. We'll move on to the final item, which is Derek and Tara White. This is property located 746 West Street, special permit to allow an accessory structure over 750 square feet. And I'll just call to the attention of the commission, we also have a request to waive a professionally prepared site plan. Is there anybody here? Please.
Derek White, 746 West Street. We did submit a letter to read the site plan. On that, we're looking for a special permit for a barn over 700 square feet.
Okay, maybe you can just show us what it is you're, right, I mean, looks like this is,
Oh, here.
Yes.
Right. Oh, proposed addition is not what we're talking
We've done this addition before.
Okay.
This was done in 05. This is the current.
about. Okay.
They're using the same map that they used for this proposal.
Correct.
Yes.
so this is the proposed barn right here.
Correct.
And is this this line isn't the setback line, is it?
That is the setback.
Okay, so you're going to go right up to the line but not over?
Yes.
Okay.
How are you going to find the right place to put the barn without a survey?
It's already staked off right now.
Did a surveyor stake it off, or did?
Flag Anderson and Associates, back in 1986. There's pins already placed at all four corners
Okay.
of the property.
And then they pinned the corners of the...
No, we did not.
Okay.
But my neighbor knows the location of a pin that's right here on the side, and another one right here, which is what we measured off of.
Well, just a word of advice, since...
How hard would it be to get Anderson to go out there and pin the locations of the corners? Because if you're without a professionally prepared site plan, and you're showing me this that shows me right up against the property or the setback line.
No, his setback is 20 feet.
He's showing 25
He's
feet.
showing 25.
So
feet.
he's got a
Okay,
5
that
foot
makes me
buffer.
feel a little bit better.
Yeah, just a suggestion that you want to be very careful about that, because we've had other situations where things were not as they seemed, so to speak, and then people got into a violation situation, and it became a real mess for everyone involved. So my suggestion would be just be very careful when you lay this out to make sure you're not into the easement area. I mean, you're not into the setback area. All right. Further questions? David, look like you might have a few.
No, I have just generally just concerns as to how we got so far as to say, no, you could show up at the commission without a site plan, without saying, gee, this is a relatively significant building relatively near the property line, maybe you ought to have a surveyor survey the line. How did we get this far into the process?
Well, because when I looked at it, it shows that the barn is going to be 25 feet from his
On the
sideline.
cocktail napkin,
And 90 foot from the street line.
Right.
I mean,
If
as
there were-
long as the...
There's no requirement for a survey for an accessory building. If this building were less than 750 square feet, a building permit would be all that's required. There's no requirement there for a survey. It's the burden is
More
on
than
the applicant.
750 square feet, it's a special permit, and you're
Right.
supposed to have a site plan as part of your special permit, and
Yes.
I'm just asking how we nodded our heads and said, oh, don't worry about it.
Well, you didn't yet. You have to, basically, there's a request that you waive the requirement for a professionally prepared site plan.
Guess how I'm leaning on that.
Well, again, which is why I brought up the point, to make very sure that this gets located.
With respect to a professionally prepared site plan, there's no requirement that that be based on a survey. Professionally prepared site plan could be could be
How
an
do you do a site
architect,
plan without it being an A1 survey?
A2 survey, or
A2 survey, sorry, that's A2, yes.
it doesn't have to be, as long as it's prepared by a licensed professional.
And what's the total size of this, the whole lot altogether?
2 acres.
2 acres exactly? 2.0? And the current lot coverage?
I did that calculation. With the barn, they're going to be at 3.59% lot coverage.
And what's the,
and
what's...
without it, they're at 2%.
I didn't calculate what they are now. I was more concerned that they didn't go over the 5%
That's the R8 zone, right?
allowed.
5%
Yes,
for R8.
correct.
Okay, while we have the applicant, if there are any other questions from the commission, let me ask, are there any questions from the public? Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Anybody wishing to speak against? Okay, any other questions from, yes, ma'am?
Hi, I'm Tara White.
Sure.
I'm the other part of that. We do have 2 letters from our neighbors in support of...
Oh, great, if you could
Thank you.
enter those into the record. Maybe we can get those to Donette. Just to put David, do you have any other questions you want to?
I don't know, help me out here, George. The site plan shall be prepared by a professional engineer, architect, land surveyor, and shall be based upon an A2 survey.
I'm wrong, you're right.
So, I'm sorry?
You're correct.
Oh, okay, I like that.
Could you just describe for us how you use the well? The well that's here that's described 57 feet from the proposed structure?
Because that was, the original plan of the house was built in 1986, it was built to the actual plan from Anderson.
Okay. Let me just ask this, Reg and George, if this gets built the way it's shown here, in other words, 90 feet from the front property line and 25 feet in from the actual border, it meets all the requirements.
That's correct, it does. And also his architectural drawing showing the framing, he clearly put down here that the barn would not exceed 20 feet in height, which is the requirement, the maximum height that you can have in the R8 zone. So he's done his homework.
So there are no variances required as long as
No.
what we see here is what gets built
No.
and gets placed where it's shown here.
I mean,
And the height is precisely 20 feet according to this drawing, is that?
that's what
my
that drawing
understanding?
says.
And is that the?
That's the top of the ridge down to the
And that's the height
bottom of
for,
the
what
ground.
zone are we in?
R8.
R8
R8
accessory is
zone.
20 feet?
20 foot.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? David, you look like, okay.
No further questions.
Sorry, what are you planning to use the barn for?
Storage, tools, equipment.
Regular barn.
And these drawings, so we have a need for storage.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, if there are no more questions, then I'll close the public hearing in this matter. And since that's the last public hearing, I will ask for the approval of the revised agenda.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, first item is the Granbury matter. If I can get a motion, please.
Voted that the, sorry, do you have to recognize me?
No.
Voted that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve a special permit and coastal site plan application for Carlton and Gretchen Granbury at 982 Leeds Island Road, map 12, lot 18-1, for an accessory structure over 750 square feet as shown on an application dated 5/23/13 and is heard at a public hearing on August 7th, 2013. This application is approved with
Well, I think there might have been a,
with this one condition.
there you go.
I have so many
Whichever one you
conditions.
want.
They're all the same. This application is approved with the following conditions. The Town of Guilford zoning enforcement officer shall be notified to inspect the sedimentation and erosion control measures prior to site construction. Soil stockpiles shall be contained by silt fencing and or hay bales. Soil erosion and sedimentation control measures shall be maintained until vegetation is established or suitable material is installed to the satisfaction of the zoning enforcement officer. This application is approved based upon a finding that it conforms with the zoning code and is consistent with the coastal management policies of the state of Connecticut. The special permit is effective on August 16th, 2013, and upon filing with the town clerk. I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay,
We sidewalked it, it's,
You say
I
what?
mean, the big question was, is this inland or tidal?
We're looking at a bunch of marshes in every direction.
the ruling is that it
Yeah, I mean, the
is
Tidal marsh.
tidal, so therefore Inland Wetland Commission approval is not necessary.
Correct.
We had no input from the neighbors against this, and it looks like it does conform to all of the requirements, so
There's really no way for it to produce nuisance the way the property is designed. It's pretty secluded.
good. Any other comments from any of the commission members? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, you're all set. Next item is the Justin and Nikki Pagano matter, so if I could please get a motion on that one.
I want Josh to do it.
Want to go, Josh? Here it is.
This motion?
Do we need motions to continue ag and what was the other one?
Well, they've already requested the the continuation,
Yes, they
so they're both off. I mean, like the same thing with Yale, there's nobody here, so they've requested that
Yes,
be
they have.
continued.
I don't know whether you need to move that or not.
Well, we'll come back and get them both at the end, just to
Yeah,
be safe.
okay.
On the Pagano motion, voted that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a revision to the special permit for Bluff View subdivision by eliminating Note 1 from the subdivision map for Lot 310, owned by Justin and Nikki Pagano. This special permit revision is effective on August 16th, 2013, and upon filing with the town clerk.
All right, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Yep. Very simple, straightforward, just affects the lots in that subdivision. And everybody impacted is in agreement with it, so it's fine with me.
I'm also pleased to see that the only other lot that has the similar easement is here tonight.
Good. All right, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Okay, that one is passed. The Toriano matter, if I could get a motion on that, please.
Voted that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a revision to the special permit for Bluff View subdivision by eliminating Note 1 from the subdivision map for lots 3-9 and lots at 3-11. The special permit revision is effective on August 16, 2013, and upon filing with the town clerk.
All right, thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. I think basically the same conversation that applied to the prior application applies to this one, so I'm in favor of it. Any other comments?
They only really pose any kind of effect on each other, so.
Absolutely right. All right, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Okay, that one is passed as well. Derek and Tara White, if we can get a motion on this matter. We'll do the, why don't we do, in this case, the request to waive the professionally prepared site plan first? And if I can get a motion on that.
I move that, it's very simple. I move that the commission waive a professionally prepared site plan.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion.
I've expressed my concerns. It's not an insignificant building. We waive prepared site plans when it's an addition to something minor that's already there. We know where it's going to be. This is relatively close to the property line. It's not a small building. And I'm really interested in how Reggie's going to know that that building is 20 feet tall as opposed to 21 feet tall. So I express concern. I understand it's North Guilford, but when this building gets built and it's too close or it's too tall, and we're going to say, gosh, too bad we didn't have a surveyor involved to make sure that it was done properly.
Well,
That's my concern.
yeah, I mean, I generally agree with David on these matters because we've gotten burned a couple of times when we've, maybe trying to be nice guys and not require the site plan when we really do. The one difference, though, with this one is that with what we've been presented and what we're approving does conform to all the zoning regulations. Now, if this thing doesn't get placed in the right spot, even if we had a professionally prepared site plan that says it's 20 feet, somebody could still build it 21 feet or 22 feet. Okay, so whether you have a professionally prepared site plan or not isn't going to help you with that.
Well, we could fix that easily. I'm sure that the applicant would be willing to, once he gets all the framing up for the roof, be willing to invite me up and drop a tape measure, and I could look at it, just
Why don't we
ascertain that it's 20 foot tall.
Why don't we consider making that as a condition then of the application when we get there, if it's granted. But normally, I would agree 100% with David, but I think in this situation, what we've been shown, if that's what gets built, would be in conformance. So I'm okay here. But again, I want to just caution the applicant, as I did before, to make sure that what gets built is what's shown here, and because you don't want to run into issues like this, where you can get a cease and desist order, or, worst case, have to chop part of the roof off or move the whole thing over. So be very cautious in building with it. I don't know, anybody else want to make a comment concerning this?
We've had some concerns about specificity in the past with the the ice cream shop application in North Guilford, but in that case, there was a lack of specificity that we could see. I think that the information that we're presented with here gives us a complete picture of the situation and of the intent of the applicant. So that combined with the fact that the building is 30% larger than 750 square feet only, and that it only is going to end up covering 3.57% 3.5% of the lot. I'm all right with waiving the site plan.
Any other comments?
I agree that with Walter, I think it looks pretty detailed to me, and I see no reason why there would be a problem in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to repeat myself again, but I just want to make sure that what gets built is what's been approved. So I just caution the applicant one more time to make sure that if there's any question at all about the height or where that is located on the property, you get the necessary experts to help you. It's a lot easier to do that now than to have a violation and to try to deal with it later. And the other question I would ask, well, when we get to the motion, I think it's a good one about letting Reggie out there to measure the height to make sure we don't have a problem. All right, I guess we've discussed this. So all in favor of the motion to waive the professionally prepared site plan?
Aye.
All opposed?
Obviously.
Okay, none against. All right, let's move on to the application itself then. If I can get a motion. And I'm going to just suggest, although I don't make the motions here, that we add a condition with regard to what Reggie suggested.
Voted that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a special permit for Derek and Tara White at 746 West Street, map 108, lot 14A, for an accessory structure over 750 square feet, as shown on an application dated 6/15/13, and as heard at a public hearing on August 7th, 2013. This application is approved with the following conditions, and that condition is a single zoning enforcement officer visit.
Well, I think
When-
when it's framed, you want to be.
When the building is framed up to the peak of the ridge line, before the roof goes on, the applicant can call me. I'll meet him there. We'll drop a tape measure to make sure that it doesn't exceed 20 feet. In fact, it should be a little less than 20 feet at that point, because you have to put
The sheathing.
roofing material on.
And you'll also check the setback from the property line on the road.
It would
At that
be
time.
easier to measure the distance from the well to the
From the well.
property line. We know what it is here. We see where the well is here. And the building is supposed to be 57 feet from the well. So by doing that, we can get an idea that at least it won't be closer than 20 foot to the property line.
Can I put zoning enforcement officer Reed's statement into the motion without repeating it?
That's fine.
It's not necessary. All right, I would like to put that statement into the motion as our one condition. This application is approved based upon a finding that it conforms with the zoning code. The special permit is effective on August 16th, 2013.
All right, do I hear a second?
Second?
Okay, discussion. I mean, I think what they're proposing in and of itself isn't that major a change, and I hope that with the conditions we've attached here, we're sure that what we're getting is what's been approved, and if not, it gets caught at an early enough time in the construction process where the necessary changes can be made. So with that condition, I'm okay with it. Any other comments?
I have no problem with the project. I just think that it's incomplete and lacking a site plan, and I'm trying to understand the rationalization for why we would require a site plan from anybody at this point if all we're going to do is have Reggie climb up to the top and measure, drop a tape measure.
I'm not climbing to the top, I'm going to stand at the bottom.
I feel like we're putting some surveyors out of town in the town of Guilford by,
All right, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
just because of that one point.
Okay, no problem. All right, so let's do this. The Ag Society, if I can get a motion to continue that application to August, what is it, 21st?
Yes.
So moved.
Here a second? All in favor?
Aye.
And the Yale University application, if I can get a motion to continue that to August 21st.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's it for the public hearing site plans. The first one, Guilford Gatehouse West Management, I have to recuse myself from this matter, so I will let Peter run with the ball on this one. That's okay.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is basically the Guilford Gatehouse West Management property located at 2614 Boston Post Road, map 83, lot 20 and 20A, zone CD. Site plan revision to change approval from multi-level rental property to single-family residential condominium units, section 273-97B, revised July 17th, 2013. I guess we have some presenters here.
This doesn't look anything like what it used to.
We're all set?
All set.
My name is Victor Natra. I'm the owner and developer of the property. This project is called The Woods at Gatehouse West. Some of you may or may not recall, but we were before this board several years ago with a similar project. Matter of fact, it was fully approved for 6 two-bedroom townhouses. This was the model of that complex before. It was pretty much 3.5-story townhouses, kind of stacked up, each unit. And because of the economy and everything else, and of course changing living habits, etc., we abandoned this project. And we do a lot of marketing research and whatever. We come up with this new design, which basically is everything, all the living spaces on one level. Master bedroom suite, living room, dining room, kitchen is all on one level. There is a half-story above that where there's a guest suite above that. So they're basically two-bedroom units. Here's a copy of what the site looks like. Some pictures here. This is at 2614 Boston Post Road. This is kind of the picture that you're looking at here when I handed out. There's a 2-aerial shot. And basically in the back where you see this pond, and that aerial shot that's kind of depicted here on the model. So this is basically behind the complex. And this is the site plan here. Just wanted to make mention that the architect, Bob Mangino, is here to answer any specific questions about the design. We did go through the design review committee, and I believe you have a copy of that correspondence and some of the current concerns that they have that we've already addressed. I think one of the major concerns they had was this retaining wall that was in the back of the project, and we did hire engineer, Giordano Associates, to come in and engineer the walls so that we know further issues concerning the stability and value of that construction on that. Basically, we're doing a lot of stone walls. There's going to be a stone wall framing around the road that comes in here. As you can, the best way to probably illustrate it here on this site plan is that this is the existing complex here, and I'm sorry. This is the existing complex. These buildings are already built. This road comes off the back of that, circles around here, comes back into the parking lot, and this is basically the footprint of those those 5 units. We're going to be paying a lot of attention to the design and landscaping, and we have also a landscaping plan here. Put that up. So just to show you that we basically put a lot of effort into the landscaping as we're trying to make these units as attractive as possible, for resale. Again, there's a stone wall that comes here. It comes right to the pond. This whole pond is lined with the stone wall here. There's a break here in this area, and this is a break that we left intentionally there for the maintenance of the pond, and also for a pull-off for a pump on a fire truck if needed to come in here, where they can drop the pump into the pond and use it for additional fire protection of the plaza. And then we continue the stone wall all on the side as it goes across there. On the top of that stone wall, this is a typical picture of what the stone wall looks like. This is already constructed there. We're just going to continue this wall. And certain sections, like this section right over here, we're putting what we call a topper, which is all white scalloped fence on top of that. So when you're looking at it, you see the stone wall, you see this topper, and you see the green woods behind it. And because although the stone walls are very attractive, we felt we needed a little variety in there. If it was all stone all the time, it would be kind of like too much. And also on this ridge going along the top, this is the existing parking lot up on top, or the road that goes around the parking lot is actually over in that section. We're also going to be framing that with this type of fencing all on the top, on the green area. So it should be really a very nice project. We're putting a lot of effort, time into making sure that it's going to be sellable and very livable, and we're really excited about the project. Now, there's some issues concerning, not issues, but I'm sure you have some questions regarding the site, things of that nature. So at this point, I'm happy to answer any questions. If I can't, I'm going to deflect them to my experts.
Let me just read these 2 letters for the record. This one comes from LHB Development. Mr. Anatra, the office has been retained by you to structurally design the stone walls to be constructed at the project noted above. We have performed a site visit inspection of the areas where the stone walls are to be built. We have also received a site grading plan to be used for the elevation of the wall. The design work will be completed by no later than August 12th, 2013. If you require additional information, please advise. Anthony Giordano, and I guess this is one that you wrote, Mr. Anatra, to Mr. Bauer. It says the applicant, this is dated August 7th. The applicant was made aware of the concerns to Ms. Reed. I have met with Mr. Anatra this afternoon at 8/7/2013 at the proposed site and have come to the agreement which will meet the needs of the fire department at this time, based on the point discussed and agreed to at our meeting. I recommend that the project be moved forward with consideration for the fire department requirements. I plan attending the meeting this evening. Regards, Wayne Manetra.
And the fire marshal is here.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Wasn't so focused in on a plan here. I totally missed you. I cannot believe that.
Wayne, do you want to talk about your concerns and how they've been resolved?
Well, as I said in the letter, my concerns have been addressed with the applicant, and I'm satisfied. And my concerns, as I said, the concerns were addressed. We have some improvements to the site that we were looking for, and initially just accessibility issues, and we've been able to overcome those.
How did you overcome your main issues?
Units 2 and Units 5 seem to be the problem. In your earlier email, what do they do that's different?
We've established an area that we can actually get to the units in question, and we've also I'd like to give Mr. Natra a chance to give his proposal also, but we've also made some enhancements to the structures themselves. He's going above and beyond to make the structures themselves some improvements as far as fire safety goes. So, and he's also established that area for the pond for additional fire protection.
That pond also serves to handle more runoff than is required in terms of inland wetlands requirements.
When we initially built the pond, we actually built it bigger rather than smaller. So we have a lot of capacity there to take care of any runoffs, stormwater. And as a result of that capacity, we have a big reservoir that we use for fire protection. So one of the issues was, well, how do we get to that? So we created a driveway or an area that we're going to pave and maintain so that a pump truck can back in there and pump water out in case of fire. Now, so they'll have that, plus we're about 400 feet to a fire hydrant on Route 1. So between the two sources of water, because I didn't realize it, but the fire department, Wayne was telling me that sometimes they actually run out of water, even though they run a fire hydrant. And actually, they use more water than the fire hydrant can supply. So this pond is going to really act as a really effective backup system.
Now, this plan is 1 unit less than the previous plan.
Yes, originally we had 6 two-bedroom units. We reduced it to 5 bedroom units. And when we designed this, we came across another problem where they would require 5 separate septic systems as a result of that. So in our conference with Dennis Johnson and Mike Parkin, we established that if we connected them and made it one complex, we would actually put one septic system in, which is a lot less effect on the environment of the whole project.
And the footprint is slightly increased from the previous.
Slightly, because we're all on one level
down
rather than going up. We spread out, so we lost one by doing that. But this, a lot of work and effort by the architect nested these things in where it becomes like a little village.
How many total units?
There's 5.
5, and what's the square footage of each one?
The square footage is the heated square footage, including the garage, is 3,600 square feet. But we've eliminated the basement, and in exchange for the basement, which is normally not even included when you're measuring square footage of a house, is basically storage in the attic. So we've created dry storage in the attic rather than damp, moldy storage in the basement. But in doing so, it became a conditioned space, so that's how we come up with the 3,600 square feet.
And the previous was?
The previous was 3,600, I believe.
The previous was also 3,600.
Also 36, but it was 3 stories.
Right.
And actually there was a half story above that, so it became one of those situations where it's constant stairs, you know. And we felt the marketability of that wasn't going to work.
You said this is single level living. I'm assuming on the ground floor you were saying there's a bedroom.
Yes.
And then I'm just looking at this village. I can see 3 or 4 different seeming, awful lot of windows on the second floor for storage. You said there's 1 bedroom?
Well, this is 1 master bedroom suite.
Downstairs.
On the first floor.
Yep.
A second master bedroom suite on the second floor.
2 master bedrooms?
That's right, 2 master bedroom suites. And then in addition to that, there's a bonus room that could be an office.
What's a bonus room?
A bonus room is an open room with at least a 6-foot double door entry into it. It's not considered a bedroom. It's a bonus room. It could be used for a pool table. It could be used for a media room. It could be used for office. All those uses, or it could just be used for storage. And keep in mind, because we don't have a basement, all the utilities, air handlers, everything in the attic. It's in that, there's a utility room in that second floor also.
Okay.
So is your attic part of your 3,600 square feet?
Yes. Yes.
Because you said it's a conditioned space.
Yes, it's all conditioned space. It'll all be heated and air conditioned.
And then what's the total footprint of the new development versus the one that we've already approved?
The footprint?
Coverage.
Coverage, sorry.
I would,
Good evening. For the record, my name is Michael Harkin, professional engineer and principal of Harkin Engineering, located at 78 Wolf Hollow Lane in the town of Killingworth, Connecticut. To answer your question, there's an 11% reduction in what was previously approved, what you see on this top one, as far as the impervious area for the building footprint as well as the roadway. Here is the new site plan with the layout. Again, there is 11% reduction in impervious, which is very beneficial. I know Guilford likes to institute all the LIDs that they can, and that was one of the big LIDs by reducing the impervious area on the site and having that extremely large detention pond back there was beneficial for the project.
where's the septic system?
Good question. The septic system is in the same location as it was previously for the 5 individual systems. You see on the older site plan that was already approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission, it is in the easterly portion of the site. There are multiple test holes, I believe 6 in that area.
Yep.
The previous application called for the 6 individual septic systems, 6 individual pump systems. Because we are dealing with essentially one building now, we were able to put it in that same area, but it's one system. The system actually just got longer, and it is located in the easterly corner.
Could you just point it out on ours for 1 second? We've got a slightly different drawings here.
Yeah, you have an older plan. Let me show you on the board.
This is brand
That's why
new.
it's-
We just got this. This was the 8th. I mean, yes.
Okay.
Yesterday. I had it stamped wrong.
There's an
It's a
argument
7.
from Laura.
Yes. I'm ahead of my game.
Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions.
David?
Just, this is across from Guilford Land Conservation Trust property. Did anybody make sure that they were aware of, I know this had been a concern of theirs last time around. Did anybody make sure that they were at least aware of this site plan revision?
Not that I know
Sounds
of.
like the answer is no.
This is not a public hearing. There's no notice requirement, but the answer is...
I'm with you
the
there.
answer is
I'm
no.
asking the question.
I can't say if anybody notified them, but I don't think neither Reggie or I
No,
did.
I did.
Okay.
Kevin has reviewed the plans, however. He's usually in pretty close touch with them.
Well, the thing is, it is approved for...
This is a preferable plan from that point of view, as opposed to the previous plan, for
Yeah,
sure.
it is approved for multi-rental properties to single-family residential condo. I don't know, what would be the adverse effect of going from rental to condo?
Maybe they think this is visually, you know, it's really hard to speculate what somebody else's concerns would be. That's why I like to have their input. That's kind of the thing that I'm a big fan of, is making sure that people know about it rather than us trying to guess what they might be thinking about.
So maybe it should go back for a public hearing?
I'm sorry?
Should this go back for a public
It's not a
hearing?
public hearing.
Well, we'd have to decide that it would be rise to the level of a public hearing, but that's why I was simply asking whether they had been notified and had comments or concerns.
Not by the town.
Okay.
If I may just
Yeah,
add
go for it.
something. Again, for the record, Mike Harkin from Harkin Engineering. The previous application that was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission is a lot larger and has more of an impact, and that was previously approved. Mr. McGee has reviewed this, and I do believe you have a letter from him with regards to that. The site plan that you have in front of you is a reduction. It's a reduction in impervious area, it's a reduction in units, it's a reduction in septic system, and it's a reduction in disturbance. So they previously approved the worst case scenario, and what we're doing at this point is reducing it all. So we're having a less of an effect on everything in that area and the environment. I believe when this was originally approved, it wouldn't need a public hearing. I believe that when the public hearing was heard, everybody was notified. The Conservation Commission in that area would have been notified. I don't know the specifics because it was approved years ago. We approved this worst case scenario. So what we're doing is we're making the whole project better with less disturbance.
They can still go forward with the previous plan that is, that fits their marketing less, of course, if we don't approve this tonight, and they can move forward with what we've already approved, without the 11% reduction in impervious, et cetera.
Is that Kevin's letter?
Yeah.
Do you mind reading that? Yeah, if you can read that, I can't find it.
Would you mind, would you like me to read both into the record?
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to read into the record a letter from Kevin McGee, our environmental planner, to Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission, dated August 7th, 2013. RE site plan review for Guilford Gatehouse West at 2614 Boston Post Road, Guilford, Connecticut. The site plan for Parcel A, Guilford Gatehouse West, shows improvements to the property consisting of the construction of roadway, 5 houses, and a sanitary system. The majority of the stormwater from the roof, gutters, and roadway areas will be treated by the existing wet bottom detention basin. Any patios constructed would be installed using pervious pavers. The proposed revisions are reported to produce an 11% decrease in impervious surface from the 2008 site plan approval. The plans for the project have sedimentation and erosion control procedures that are in compliance with 273-97B subsection 6 of the zoning regulations. The Guilford Inland Wetlands Commission, at its July 23, 2013 meeting, approved with conditions the regulated activity within the 100-foot jurisdictional review zone. To assure future compliance of the stormwater management system in accordance with section 273-75F of the zoning code, the applicant shall A, provide a written maintenance and operation manual for all the stormwater management systems located at the subject site. The manual should provide provisions for inspection, maintenance of the stormwater system, and yearly reports to the town engineer. The maintenance schedule should include information on the sweeping of the roadways, monitoring of the catch basins, the removal of accumulated material from the catch basins, the monitoring of the detention basins, the removal of accumulated material and non-native invasive species in detention basins. The maintenance plan needs to provide a statement that the stormwater management plan will be reviewed annually so that inspection/maintenance requirements may be modified, and that any changes to the plan would require the approval of the town engineer. B, provide a, quote, as-built drawing, end quote, of the completed stormwater system prepared in accordance with section 273-75F, stormwater management, subsection 6, construction. And do we need to read Scott Williams's letter into the record as well?
Yes, I think so.
I have a letter here from Chairman Scott Williams, Chair of the Inland Wetlands Commission. Dear Mr. Anatra, RE Gatehouse West Management, LLC. Dear Mr. Anatra, at its July 10th, 2013 regular meeting, the Guilford Inland Wetlands Commission took the following action. Voted that the Guilford Inland Wetlands Commission approves a regulated activity for construction of 5 single-family units in place of 6 multifamily units, construction of access drive, and 1 house partially within 100-foot jurisdictional review zone, as shown on Inland Wetlands Regulated Activity Plan and Site Plan, Parcel A, Guilford Gatehouse West Management, LLC, 2614 Boston Post Road, Guilford, Connecticut, dated June 5, 2013, revised to 7/10/13 with the following conditions. 1, pull fill back to tree line and stabilize slope to the delight of the town staff. He actually included that. Unacceptable. I remember him saying that. I was there. And now it's in the letter. Okay. Number 2, all other previous conditions of approval remain in effect. This regulated activity is approved based upon the finding that there was no reasonable or prudent alternative in completion of this project. Very truly yours, Scott Williams, Chairman, Inland Wetlands Commission.
And again, for the record,
Yeah,
we
please.
acknowledge that we've talked to Mr. McGee. He made us aware of those conditions today, so we are aware of them. We take no exception to them. I believe when this original project was approved, you didn't have the stormwater management guidelines and the regulations. Now they are in the regulations, and it's a requirement to have that stormwater management plan as part of the project. So we take no exceptions.
When was it originally approved?
2008.
Before I came, there's only been 8%.
Well, obviously, I believe, because of the fact that it's going to be considerably more desirable, I think, having a condo association, or a condo unit as opposed to multi-family rentals. I think that would be a plus, as long as it meets Kevin McGee's conditions. Any more input from other commissioners?
All of my concerns were handled at the Inland Wetlands Commission meeting. The decrease in pervious, as well as the and the design is appropriate.
Any questions of the applicant?
If I may just make a complete application. I believe what I heard from Kevin at the Inland Wetlands Commission meeting, they were looking for the actual volume calculations of that existing detention pond. We did send a letter to Kevin.
It's in the file.
Yep, basically showing the kind of the as-built of how much cubic feet is in that, as well as we discussed with him how much additional cubic feet of storage is still there. So that was taken care of. And additionally, he wanted to know how much of a percentage it was the decrease in impervious, and it was 11%. So that was submitted.
And the upshot of that retention pond is that it's much, much more than is required for this site.
It is, that is correct. It's
Vastly.
Approximately 4 times the size.
Just to reconfirm, no fire department concerns at this point with this project as
I was
proposed?
there today, and I walked the site, and we're good.
As designed, as proposed, we're good with it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Let me call to your attention that this was discussed at least twice by the Design Review Committee, including in a special meeting with them. They have approved the concept of the design. They do want to see some final details subsequent to planning and zoning approval for prior to building permit, but they're basically happy with the design concepts. I think you have the minutes of their meeting, which sort of summarize that.
Can we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I think it would be in order to ask the public if they have any questions and then close the public hearing.
This is not a public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope.
We don't have to close anything. Forget it. Just kidding.
It was spot on there.
I'd like to make a motion. Voted that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a site plan revision for Guilford Gatehouse West, 2614 Boston Post Road, map 83, lot 20 and 20A, as shown on, quote, site plan modification prepared for Guilford Gatehouse West, end quote, 4 sheets, dated 8/5/13 by Harkin Engineering LLC, and architectural plans and building model prepared by Robert Mangino, architect, as presented at a meeting on August 7, 2013. This application is approved with the following conditions: that prior to issuance of the building permit, A, the plan be modified
I
in
think you can
accordance...
delete condition number
delete.
A.
That's not necessary.
Yes.
That, B, I'm sorry. Yes, now it's A. That prior to the issuance of the building permit, A, the final plans be reviewed by the Design Review Committee as requested at their meeting on July 31, 2013. We don't need to include the Inland Wetlands Commission's requirements. They're already in effect.
They're already there.
This application is approved based upon a finding that it conforms with the zoning code.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
No further discussion from me,
Do
thank
you
you.
have any comments?
No. Just
All opposed?
all in favor?
Wait, press four.
All in favor?
All right. There
Thank
go.
you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah, it looks good.
Larry, don't turn the lights out, Larry.
No, don't do that.
All right. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a mandatory referral from the town of Guilford. This is a request to allow placement of an informational kiosk on town-owned property.
Mr. Chairman, I have to recuse myself because of my membership in the GPA.
No problem whatsoever. Let the record show that Walter has recused himself. Why is he recused? Well, the GPA, I believe it's GPA that is actually proposing this. So my understanding is that in addition to this, eventually they'll also come back with a site plan.
Yes.
Which will also need to be approved. So
Is this written in the
George
It's
is
not a special permit, it's site plan.
site plan, right? Is somebody going to present or?
I can.
Sure.
I believe you have the letter from the selectmen in accordance with 8-24, use of town property, and 8-24, referral to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay.
That's what this is. The town is proposing to use a portion of this property that we're on, in fact, right out here on the grass, allow the GPA to construct and operate a visitors information kiosk. You'll see a lot more detail about that if and when they make a site plan application, which the town would be required to do sometime in the future. But at this point, the request is for the mandatory referral.
Okay.
There's a kind of a written description of the information kiosk that's provided by GPA for your future reference.
Very good. So they'll be back again with a site plan at some point for final approval.
Yes, correct.
All right. If I could just get a motion from someone with regard to this. We have that in the package.
I'll make a motion that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a mandatory referral in accordance with 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes to allow placement of an informational kiosk on town-owned property at the community center. This approval is based upon a finding that the activity, in a broader sense of the word, is consistent with the plan of conservation and development. This approval does not constitute approval of a site plan application nor a certification of zoning compliance.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Better than on the Guilford Green.
Makes sense to me. All right, let's call for a vote. All in favor? Anybody opposed? None. Okay, Walter, we're all set. We have a number of receives and setting a public hearing. First one is Algonquin Industries. This is a campsite plan approval for the replacement of an existing nitrogen tank at 129 Soundview Road. If I can get a motion to receive and set a public hearing for 9/18.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Donald Ashford, property located 118 Daniel Avenue, campsite plan approval for replacement of an existing deck within 100 feet of the critical coastal resource. Receive and set a public hearing for 9/18.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, a couple of special permits. Town of Guilford, Public Schools, property located 101 Hubbard Road. Special permit to allow the removal of a 2,000-gallon fuel tank and canopy and installation of a 10,000-gallon above-ground tank with a new canopy within the groundwater protection district. Receive and set a public hearing for 8/21.
8/21 is okay?
So moved.
Here a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Fair Street condominiums, property located between number 19 and number 33 Fair Street. This is a revision to a special permit granted on June 18th, 1984 to remove condition number 6. Set a public hearing.
Condition number 6?
Good question. Well, I'm sure we'll find out. Receive and set public hearing on 9/18.
So moved.
Second.
A couple of zoning regulation amendments. The first one is amend 273-2, definitions, miscellaneous word definitions included in Table 5 of the zoning code. Receive and set a public hearing for 9/4.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then the biggie, amend Table 5 permitted uses in non-residential districts. Comprehensive revision of Table 5 in order to eliminate inconsistencies, update language, and generally conform with the intent of various non-residential zoning districts and the plan of conservation and development. Receive and set a public hearing for September 4th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. I think we purposely left the September 4th meeting a little bit light so that we could take up these matters.
Right, that's going to be a long discussion, potential.
Could be, but an important one. A couple other items. As part of the Table 5 review, it was suggested that maybe it's time to take a look at the zoning again at Route 1 West. I believe the last time we did that was 2000, 2001, that time frame. So we've put together a select committee. Tony Fapiano is going to chair it. Victor Anatra, property owners on there. Chris Widmer, an architect. Matthew Joseph from the EDC, and Sarah Williams from the Guilford Land Conservation Trust. I believe they have quite a bit of property around that area. We're also looking for a planning and zoning commission member to sit on that. If there's anyone who would like to volunteer, please let me know.
My name's Walter, I'm in favor.
Mr. Chairman, I discussed this with Steve Copps on the Economic Development Commission, and I'd be willing to serve on this.
Okay, let the record show that Walter Corbiere will be the P&Z member who will be appointed to serve on this committee. Again, the purpose of the committee and the project itself is to review comprehensively the zoning along Route 1 West corridor, approximately from Joan Drive to Branford Line. Particular attention should be paid to expanding commercial zoning opportunities consistent with the plan of conservation and development. Careful consideration of natural resource and environmental constraints is a necessary component of this review. The first step in this committee's work is to review the current zoning map and correct the several errors in mapping which have been previously identified. What we'll do is, as we said, Tony Fapiano is going to chair this, so we'll give Tony the power to call the meetings and organize this committee. As I said, Walter will be the P&Z member on it, and whenever they need to meet with either myself, George, or either the zoning subcommittee or the planning subcommittee to review any proposals, we'll make ourselves available for that.
Absolutely.
All right. We'd like to formally welcome our newest commissioner, Josh Hirschman. Congratulations and good luck.
Did you spell your name correctly?
Yeah, there's a C in there. No C. Hirsch, H-E-R-C.
No C?
No C, yeah.
So when we make your nameplate, we'll make sure we spell it.
I spelled it right. I made that name.
We don't want to have the cost to redo it. The planning committee is going to meet next on 9/17 in the selectmen's meeting room at 5:15, and then the zoning committee is scheduled to meet 8/12 next week in the Town Hall South Conference Room at 5 p.m. We have a bill from Shore Publishing for $280.55. If I can get a motion to pay the bills.
Pay the bills, so moved.
Here a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's pay the bills. Having no more business before the commission, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I hear a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Well, that's pretty quick.